sometimes successes will be fluke, but for ISRO it is not fluke. Every day it's textbook like successes that's happening, and whenever we see the news from outside,
you should, whenever you say it like this, we should do this also.
Yeah.
Things, it is not happening. It's not like even a phone which is, it gives problems. Can you imagine when you do things? It's just why these things, you should be very happy and grateful that we have so few errors when it happens, and just hope that it remains like that.
So earlier, we used to talk a lot about the scientific advancement and the accuracies of the Japan and things like that. Now, when Japan landed on moon, they were upside down.
On the side.
Yeah.
No, but they are very good people.
Precision. But today, we are talked about for our accuracies and the technological advancement in space sciences, and all because of the people like him, and he is with us. We welcome heartily to our organization. And this is our top management, whatever we have here, our top editorial management here. So this team is what is running over the entire channel, the print and television both. In fact, we are all the beneficiaries of ISRO due to our bandwidth. We are broadcasting. So that's the kind of the closest link we have with ISRO. Apart from that, I throw open this form to just have a small interaction with him. And whatever you have on your mind about Aditya L2 or ISRO or Chandrayaan or Gaganyaan or our moon mission, wherever one of our persons, the human beings will land on the moon. I think he is heralding everything. It's a great moment for us to have him here. Open for him, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So how you want to go about?
No, you can just you can just give a small glimpse of the whole thing. That's
the first thing I want to tell you is successes that happened in the past. Let it be Chandrayaan 3 or the Aditya L1 or the Gaganyaan mission. It's out of one important quality. People ask all of us how space mission can be made successful. We are all skeptical people. So always doubting us. So you say in space there is only one way to become successful, that you have to always think it's going to fail and you have to take a precautionary action. So if anytime you relax at any moment, then you will get it. So you have to develop an attitude to the whole work, that's a critical approach. Always critical, that something is going to happen. So if you continue to remain in that attitude, everybody, then you will ultimately lead up to success. And this is true in all these missions. All these missions, our team has been trained to be very skeptical about the possibility of a success and then work towards the success, because it's an unforgiving thing. Anything can go bad. Though we say our missions everywhere that we have redundancies, if something is not there, something else will take over. Computer, there are 2 computers to handle. There are 2 cameras, 2 sensors, sometimes more. But there will be always somewhere it will come and meet and make it one. So that will fail. So we will have to make sure that in respect of all such things, it still make it successful. Again, there is something called algorithms, how to go there and land. It's all done autonomously. We are not there in the picture. So everything it has to do with itself. So when it happens, then how much we have thought about it, what are the possibilities that it can go wrong, how you protected it by branching the algorithm. Something is like this, you do like this. Something is like this, you do that way. So all this is written in a big computer program and that is running it. And possibly our thought process is not good enough. It can also lead to failure. So we'll have to have a culture of very open culture, where you discuss, you debate, you argue, then reach a point. So everybody should be in a position to argue. Suppose something Rajesh says and you don't agree and you keep quiet, then you will again get it. So you have to create a culture in the organization that there are people who will question me. They will give a different opinion of different approach. Of course, not as questioning authority, but once a decision is taken, everybody will fall in line to make that decision happen. Until the decision is taken, there is a debate. So it's ours is a very debating culture, internally. We'll always ask discussions, questions, at different levels. So we created those layers of discussion for the organization to make sure such things happen. And sometimes it doesn't happen, and then you will get a failure. Okay, the failure is always related to a management failure. It's not a technical failure. Every technical failure is a management failure. That you didn't create the management structure or approach that will ensure a technical failure will not occur. So this is precisely I did after becoming chairman to make sure Chandrayaan 3 will become successful. Now you will have, of course, to have a good technical understanding of it, but you have to also make sure there is a management approach to make things work. I'll give you one clue that there is a software written in the computer called guidance program. This is written by youngsters in the organization, and it was the software which failed last time. Therefore, software had errors and it doesn't have the algorithm that will do the landing properly. This time I made sure I connect with a professor in Indian Institute of Science. He's a guidance designer and happened to be my classmate. So he's a professor there. So I made sure that this fellow gets into it and reviews it and critically questioned the design. So then our people became upset. It is our design. How can we discuss with the professor and he will tell something else? So the scare started. So then I encouraged this scare. When somebody is threatened, they will do a very good job. Threatened means that their item will not be used. A possibility that it need not be used. So everybody is possessive. So you have to play on that psychology. So they will do an extremely good job to make sure that their software or their approach will remain in the system. That is the whole purpose of it. So when the professor came in and started reviewing and he wanted to push his idea into it, and these fellows will start objecting to it. So this continued. And I don't want the professor's idea to get in. That's not my goal. My goal is to make our people's software and algorithm to be much more robust. And through that process, both of them started converging on a common path. Ultimately, I told the professor, your software I will not use because I can tell him he is my classmate. The whole purpose is to make our software much more, rather than fail-proof. So these are some of the tricks. There are many. So almost in 6 months, I played these tricks with the team. Not me alone. There are many my directors and many others. And some of the information will not come because the whole issue is in any organization there are egos. People. They work on egos and everybody is very possessive about it. You have to break it and you have to bring out the best in the team. So ultimately the whole technical solution is more of human interactions, managerial approaches that need to be created in an organization to bring the best out of people to make it successful. Success comes out of this type of plays that we play. Okay.
Right. So that was a very interesting insight into the ISRO. Whenever we talked about ISRO, we only thought about the technical advancement and things like that. There are the psychological and managerial.
So I thought that this connects with your work. Okay.
Ask questions if you guys have.
Yeah, being a woman, I'm always curious about women scientists. Does ISRO do something to, ISRO help them to overcome their stress? I would like to know how they work.
No, in fact, their life is little difficult and miserable, especially those times of post-marriage, child rearing, and they become little aged to handle it. And these periods they suffer. Basically, the government allows you to take maternity leave, then child care leave, etc. So in our system, promotion is based on merit. It's not based on years of service. In civil service, sometimes years of service matters, but for us, it is all based on performance. But when you come for performance, then women at that age will have a lot of leaves, naturally, and they will find it difficult to attend to the office. So many a time their career suffer in those periods of most productivity. So this is one issue which they are facing in our organization or any governmental organization, they will face this. So I tell the people that you have to be considerate at that time. If you are not considerate, okay, suppose 4 years is the presidential period for a promotion. So when you, and many women in that time may have 2 kids or they would have taken few months of leave and some of them would have worked only 2.5 years in the place of 2 years. So this, when somebody evaluates, the system evaluates their promotion, their output is less during that time. So it is delayed. And once it gets delayed, it continues to delay for future promotions. So these type of things are to be handled in a manner. If they are extremely good, I think you need to be very considerate to ignore these type of that period and put them in a place where they will be evaluated. But later in the life, we don't give any preference to women in terms being a woman is not considered as a reason for giving an assignment. No, it is purely based on merit. If somebody shows the leadership, they are given the role. Otherwise, no. So whoever is coming to leadership has the talent. Otherwise, they are not given any possibilities. But they have to be given a preferential treatment during these periods. This is what I tell everybody. Because otherwise they are equally good like men to handle complex problems. And many times I found they are better managers of men and women than men.
It's a combination.
Yeah, all
Many
those
times.
who are married will know this.
Yeah.
So one of your media interaction you mentioned about the private companies' investment in space. How
Yeah.
it's going to work, sir, in particular about ISRO?
See, both are different. ISRO is a research organization and we have been the only organization working in space till few years back. Now we are encouraging private companies to work in space sector. There were some private companies working for space and they were only suppliers of systems and components but never an engineering firm. No, they don't know, they didn't know how to build a satellite, they didn't know how to build a rocket in its entirety. But then now new companies have started coming and they want to hire people with experience and build all this. And there were no regulation in the government to allow this. So now regulation is in place, something called space policy. It allows people to work in space. Any domain they want, it can be permitted, and there is an authorizing body we created and in space. So they will give licenses or authority to do that. And you can create a business around it. So this is not possible. But then the question is whether it is going to be profitable, whether it is going to produce results. These are yet to be seen because it just started. But I can tell you in the application side there are companies who are doing very well, like image processing, communication. Those domains, people who are investing are creating good returns. And the second layer of companies are the companies which are building satellites.
Mm-hmm.
There also I am seeing there is a good prospect because satellites are built not for India alone. It is you can build it for export, and the small satellite market is actually growing. There are thousands of satellites going. So at least 5 companies are started in India who are ready to build satellites. Like Tata has invested heavily to create their own satellite manufacturing hub. In Bangalore also at least there are 3 companies building satellites now, one for Airbus and some for other companies. So based on kits that are coming from. So it's like the Maruti Suzuki started building cars in India first time based on kits from Japan. So we are at that level now. But after some time the sector will grow and local companies will start building components and assembly will happen here. So ISRO is mandated now to help them. We will help them with technology, we will help them with manpower, we will help them with facility support for testing, etc. in case they don't know how to invest. So all these are now happening. So it's not an issue anything for ISRO because ISRO will continue to do what is needed for the nation as high-end development of technology, etc. But then what is needed for commercial exploitation business will be done with the private. So this is what I think.
So what is the status of that basic GPS that NAVIC is coming? When it will going to be for a public use or for like?
Okay. NAVIC has been here for many years, but it was actually designed after the Kargil war for use by the forces for their weapon system. Unfortunately, this has not happened in a big manner. So we have taken a decision that that's going to be the primary role of NAVIC to be used in the defense for their equipments. Now it will also have a civilian offshoot.
Is this for record what you are saying?
It is for record.
Okay, all right.
So we said that civilian offshoot is also going to be there, but unfortunately civilian side was not given dominance. So we tried to promote civilian, but it couldn't happen because of one important technical issue. That's called, it didn't have the frequency called L1 band. Because your GPS works in a band called L1 band. And we were having only S and L5 band, which is not, the chipsets are not there in many of the mobiles.
Okay.
So mobile companies were reluctant to put that chip for just supporting NAVIC. Whereas all the other GPS like the GPS, the GLONASS, the Bedu, all of them are based on L1. So we started doing now L1 band NAVIC. The first satellite is already launched. Now 4 more will be launched. After that, you can receive in your normal mobile. Now Apple has already introduced that. with one satellite, but we can do full, it cannot be done. So they have an algorithm that's use the L5 and convert to use in L1. So they have some software algorithm now. But once you do all the 5, you should be able to use in your mobile phones.
You were asking
There is scientific research. Success and disappointments are two sides of it. Anywhere. But in India, success will be television, common people will celebrate like anything. Disappointment also will be there. What will be the reaction of babudams, your vertical hierarchies, or common people? Does it bother you or?
Of course, it bothers all of us. I'll tell you the
So
story.
personal-
No, I have gone to all of this. I have seen failures. When I joined ISRO, there was only failure. The ASLV regime, PSLV was able to take. And when we used to go to office, people were howling at us, throwing stones at us. I also seen it with my eyes because we were at that time ASLV rocket was always going to the sea. That's name also ASLV, always sea launch vehicle. So that was a criticism. And later when PSLV came, slowly the confidence came back and we were able to make those launches. But still occasionally one or two failures were used to be there. But the failures were not the major issues that we faced. The issues that we faced were utilization of the infrastructure that we created in space. It became a question mark. Are our satellites fully utilized? Are we giving the required services? These questions are also asked. But of course, the narratives we could change when you have high-profile missions and lot of success. The government is very happy with us. The common public is also happy. So two things happen. One, when public is observing this, the technological growth or whatever. If you really know, maybe in cities you know about space activity in the past. But after Chandrayaan 3, anywhere I go, I can see this. There is a big awareness today that there is something happening in space in India. So this is a great confidence booster for many young kids who wants to come to science and technical knowledge, and education. I think it gives young people and even the common public a lot of confidence on our own capability. So that's why Prime Minister Modi, when he met me, he told me that he said, "You people don't even realize what impact you made with the Chandrayaan 3. You don't realize," he says.
Which is a fact.
Yeah, which is a fact. Yes.
This is a fact. Because the fact that you were the first one in the world to do that, it was noticed, and it was a very tough mission was noticed. And then the rest of the world talked about how they stopped whatever they were doing to watch the launch. So many people. So, that means there was enough interest, and when it happened successfully, the whole thing skyrocketed, no pun intended, but...
another narrative that changed, which is very important, is we were doing space for applications driven. We do agriculture, climate, weather services and cartographic services. We were not into science and exploration. You can see that Sarabhai always talked about we have no intention of doing all those fanciful things. Our purpose is to serve the public, etc. This narrative also slightly changed. You can see going to moon is not seen as a bad thing today. No? So
Aditya is of course.
See, it was the narrative in the beginning. So it's very important to change the narrative. When you have accomplished certain things. Now we know how to do the agriculture, we know how to handle remote sensing and how to handle the weather forecast. Cyclone warnings are very accurate today. The weather forecast has become much better than in our maybe 20-30 years back. And the services that we do to various sectors like in water, land, resources, mapping, everything is really good. It's only a question of our ministers using it or not, that's another question. But now with the very small money, you are embarking on science missions like the moon mission, the Aditya, etc. The money itself is maybe less than 10% of the overall budget. So with lesser money, we are making a big impact. So this is also seen by government as a very positive thing. So they wanted to expand that side also. That's why there was recent announcement that we should build space station. We should go and land on the moon. Otherwise, it was not the way we were looking at the whole domain really. We said that we must build satellites for fishermen, we should build it for agriculture, we should build it for this and that. But we should continue to do that. But while we do that, we should also do this. The science and exploration are equally important. When in Asia, when you say that it's going to be the third largest economy, how can we ignore that side of the space activity? So these are the changes.
Looking at the space industry 2047.
So space industry.
Because it's part of the Modi saying.
See, space industry is a question of historical, importance, because the way the space industry in Europe or America, they started as a machinery for war. They started building missiles first, and there were no rockets to launch satellites in the beginning. And it came just after the Second World War. There were only missiles, and the technology was available there, and the missiles became the rockets. And then rockets started putting satellites. Satellites started doing images and other applications. So the capacity developed with the missiles to satellites and applications. In India, it was in the reverse direction. There were no rockets or anything. We started with applications. So we started bringing satellites hired from US, and we brought the satellites from Russia, and the images were brought, and image analysis was done, and applications started percolating first. Then we built satellites and went to Russia and launched them, Aryabhatta and Bhaskara. We still had no rockets. The rockets were built much later, and missiles were built last. So the progress of the technology in the West and India was just in the reverse direction. This is again explains the way in which our industries are there. There is no industries to build any of this in India, even today. Whereas if you go in US, you want to build a new rocket, you can call Lockheed Martin, McLaren Douglas, Blue Origin, or even SpaceX. You build a rocket, they will build it for the government. There are enough technology and industry to do it. But in India, to whom you should go? So the first goal is to create such industries in India. We must create capability in industries to build end-to-end solutions to space. People who are capable of building innovative satellites, people who are capable to build rockets, we want them.
Yes.
So this is the goal. By 2047, we must have a very flourishing space-based industry in India. Second is, our manufacturing is reasonably of low-cost nature. So there is a lot of offset manufacturing happening in India in space and aerospace. So we have to upgrade this so as to become a manufacturing hub for space sector, a low-cost manufacturing place like IT revolution. We must be creating an aerospace manufacturing revolution here. This is another goal that we have. This is also happening slowly. You can see in Bangalore the aerospace activity there on the airport. And there are so many export-based companies. Airbus is there, and many others are there. They are doing a lot of manufacturing of these parts. Export is really picking up in this sector, both in defense equipment and aerospace equipment.
What about artificial intelligence? How it is going?
Yeah, that too, I think.
Yeah, AI is already there in space. We are also working with AI in many sectors, so including spacecrafts, like image analysis now happens on board. Even Chandrayaan used AI to land. Without that, he couldn't land at the right place. No? We are looking at images. There is no GPS on moon, no, to go to that location. So we have to use only the camera images and compare with the internal algorithms, and then see we are at the right place. And it avoids the holes, ditches, or rocks, etc. by such methods. Such methods.
Right.
So you have to understand what a rock is a rock. It requires some intelligence, no? Otherwise, you can see with a 2D image that you can't identify whether it is because both the crater as well as rock is the same image. Now you can see if you look from top, either it's a crater as well as it's a mound. Both give same image. You have to understand from shadows and things like that. It's a crater or a hill. There's no techniques that we use. AI is used internally to find out.
Talking about how last thing, cost effective we are. One bit of caution vis-a-vis our IT industry. We are very good with IT, but we went to the world in a wrong manner initially by offering or projecting ourselves as a cheap alternative rather than a quality alternative.
Yeah, there's another issue.
Because the world started looking at us as cheap alternatives, not as a quality alternative. Software coolies, that's why they called us.
Yeah.
Here we should be seen as people who can give low cost but high quality.
High quality, yes.
That's the challenge.
In IT industries, if you really look at, is the software coming from India, the top-notch softwares? No, absolutely not. All the high-end softwares which you are using even for space comes from West only. There is nothing Indian.
Yeah, I know.
See the analysis software, the mission software, there are so much of software commercial we are buying. They are all coming from outside. Maybe Indians working there, Indians working in Bangalore, maybe building it, but it comes from there.
So the CEOs are also Indians.
This is one issue which you have to handle. In the future, we must create our own software for most of the engineering activities. For example, we do computational fluid dynamics. I made sure in ISRO we will not use a purchased software. So when I was director of VSSC staff, I put 5 young people to develop a new brand software to be used by us, and we are using only that now. We don't buy a commercial software. So similarly, we have our own finite element analysis software, structural analysis. We have our own software. So building software is on technical software, not a spreadsheet or commercial or finance. They are equally important, but there are a lot of softwares which has important commercial. But technical software to build in India has been not very good in the past, which you have to correct.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
আমাদের ভিডিও ভালো লাগলে লাইক এবং শেয়ার করুন। কমেন্ট সেকশনে গিয়ে জানান আপনাদের মতামত। আরও ভিডিও পেতে আমাদের চ্যানেল সাবস্ক্রাইব করুন এবং প্রতি মুহূর্তে খবরের আপডেট পেতে প্রেস করুন বেল আইকন।